This extraordinary machine is one of the most groundbreaking motorbikes ever made. It was hand-built by genius John Britten. What a lot of people don't know is that John not only created incredible motorbikes, he also created a beautiful home for his family, a home whose future sadly hangs in the balance. In the Christchurch suburb of Riccarton is a very unique building that started life in the late 1800s as the stable block to historic homestead Mona Vale. But in 1978, it was purchased by the visionary design engineer John Britten, who painstakingly converted it into a home and workshop where he designed his world-famous motorbike. Until his early death, aged 45 from skin cancer, John lived in the house with his 3 children and his wife, international model Kirstine Price.
This house will always be very huge in my heart. So special memories here are when we first got married and, finishing the house just in time to have our wedding here. And the babies were all born here upstairs.
But after 35 years in the family home, Kirstine was forced to leave when the earthquake hit in 2011. Because like many unreinforced brick buildings of its era, it sustained significant damage.
She's a very dear old lady that took a big hit. It's going to need a serious amount of work. I think I realised it was too big a job for me.
But now daughter Isabel and son-in-law Tim have taken on the challenge. By going 50-50 with Kirstine, they'll be able to restore the stables to create a home for themselves and daughter Adeline. They'll run it as a B&B alongside their day jobs, Tim as a financial advisor and Isabel a vacation rentals manager.
Where's the big goose gone?
For me, the house sort of means the world to me. It's been such a special part of my life. Maybe it's just having so much of Dad in it, and so many of the memories that I have, because I don't have that many, I was 8 when he passed away, are that house.
I'm thrilled that the family is planning to save the stables. Even just getting to see this place is a huge deal for me. Such a lovely, lovely conservatory. It's beautiful.
Inspired by Kew Gardens, John loved.
No, really?
And he did all the lead light by hand.
John designed and made many of the decorative details in the house. You've no idea what it's like for me standing here. This is something very, very special.
Watching it deteriorate has been heartbreaking. Luckily, Izzy and Tim have taken it on. It's a big thing to do to try and save it. Brave of these guys, I have to say.
Brave or mad?
Possibly both.
So tell me, guys, what's the big idea? What are you going to do?
Most sets are repairable, and then from there we're going to sort of put our mark on it. We've got a lot of glass going in, just to give the house a lot more light.
They're doing it with flair and with young, vibrant ideas. I'm sure John will be proud of what they're doing.
Of course he will.
And it will be different.
But before Tim and Isabel can make their mark, the house must be strengthened. 5 steel portals will be installed on the ground floor and damaged walls will be completely rebuilt. Where the new twist comes is in the gables. Here, collapsed brick will be replaced with steel frames filled with glass. Inside, there will be a blend of John's features and new, ultra-modern fittings. The family will occupy the west wing, while the east wing will be for guests, where there'll be a functions room created from John's old workshop, plus 2 B&B suites. On the roof, clay tiles will be swapped for much lighter steel, but it doesn't end there. A brand new building that will complement the stables will house a garage and a 3rd B&B space, completing Tim and Isabel's ambitious project. This cleverly unites the late 19th century stables, John's unique design and the contemporary elements that will give this home a modern edge. I see what happened here is something really, really special. So to be bringing another chapter to it is amazing. Well, time for the tough questions. Do you have a budget in mind?
To repair and renovate, it'll be, maybe 2 million.
Boy, so it's a big challenge, isn't it?
Well, we'll own half the house, we're buying into half of it. We've got a business to sell, we've sold our home, and that's how we're coming up with our half share.
And as the years go by, they buy me out.
Right.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible to save it.
What's the plan in terms of time frame?
We want to be in by November.
This November?
Yes. We have to be in by Christmas because to make the house financially viable for Tim and I, we need to be making a small income from the house to make it affordable. So,
gosh, it sounds awfully sensible.
Summer's the peak time for vacation rentals and such, so.
Yeah.
I suppose the thing that still is a question for me is I get that you two would be utterly committed to it. But Tim, what were you thinking? What's your motivation?
Well, Izzy and our daughter Adeline. We know there will be some tears, but you know we're ready for that. You know, we're a strong couple. We can do it.
Wow, that is wonderful. I wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you.
That's really good. They're going to need it.
This place is extraordinary. It really was a labour of love for John. There are so many beautiful details. Look at this. That's an exquisite parabola. He handmade this, just like so many of the details right through the whole house. But Isabel and Tim have got this massive challenge. There are so many things that are hidden behind the walls or in the roof structure that they don't yet fully know. But there's so much history in this place, so much meaning for so many people. I can totally understand why they'd take it on. After 2 years of planning and consent approvals, Isabel and Tim's project is finally underway.
These tiles are coming down all the way to this corner. Smash these off.
The first process for the builders is to strip away linings. But at the same time, they are carefully dismantling and cataloguing many of the fittings that John created to be stored and then reinstated once most of the building is complete. Isabel is sharing this momentous day with her mum and younger sister Jessica, who's visiting from Auckland. And it's the first time Jessica's been inside the family home for many months.
It's a really full-on experience, actually. For me, coming in here, it's like a very, so many emotions, because it's all the memories that it used to be and all of the hopes of what it can be. Just like a floodgate of memories.
And there's all your heights. Jess, are you still that high? It's hard to tell.
I'm going to
the
say
height,
educated guess no, probably about 6 inches above that.
Most of all, I feel immensely proud that they've decided to take it on and really grateful because it's not something that everybody wants to stick up their hand and do, but it's something that we all wanted to see happen. The shower clearly finished here, but I feel like it's made for it is like it was always made for like, I had to shower like this. I can remember, and I think it was when Dad was sick, and I remember playing in here, and I think I remember giving him a little bell, like, ding this when you need me. And I remember sitting in this room, waiting.
He had the wee bell.
Really? Ding it when you need me.
So it was lovely.
It's really,
Jess. It was really sweet. It's a hug.
I know for all of us when we step inside there, it's very, it's really special. Yeah, I think Dad, he's in there still.
Two and a half weeks after the project began, the team is still in the exploration phase, and no actual construction has taken place yet.
You can't really rush it at this point. The real reason for that is that we don't understand the full scope of works. You know, it's one step at a time. It's open up an area, have a look at what is in there, then just really make it work.
But already, some unwelcome surprises have been discovered.
We found asbestos in the house, so we had to have that cleaned out, and that's put us sort of a week behind.
Found in the conservatory ceiling, all work was forced to stop while it was removed. Now safely sealed up, it's being taken off-site for disposal. But as the asbestos is resolved, the builders uncover another issue.
So they've got a structural beam up there already, but it doesn't tie to the exterior walls.
We've discovered that there's further damage in the kitchen, which has meant that now we have to put a whole other steel portal in the kitchen.
Engineers had already established that 5 steel portals are necessary to strengthen the building, but this new discovery now bumps that up to 6.
So not only is this a lot more work, it's also added into the budget. I'm not too sure exactly how much the new steel portal is, but we're probably guessing about that 15,000 or something just for one additional portal. So we're feeling a little nervous.
In Christchurch, vital strengthening work is about to begin on the old stables that will become Tim and Isabel's home. The steel beams have arrived that will provide much needed support and rigidity to the quake-damaged building.
Looks like it's due for a big commercial building.
Yeah.
The steel is larger scale than what would generally be used in a residential building because of the heavy weight of the bricks and masonry it needs to support.
Tweak the long bit and try to turn it with the stick it out.
One of these portals is about 1,000 kgs. So in a new build scenario, you just crane it all into place. Obviously in this scenario, the building's up and we're putting steel in around the building. And it also means that we have to manhandle them in. So a bit slower, a bit more painful, but it needs to be done.
It most definitely needs to be done, because this place is constructed of unreinforced brick, which was common practice in the late 1800s, but most architects back then didn't factor in the formidable power of earthquakes. The reason that unreinforced masonry buildings perform so poorly in earthquakes is largely due to the fact that they rely mainly on the weight of the building to hold them together. And what they really need is a tensile connection between all of those components, like steel. Because if you have a large earthquake, it would do something like this. And what the team has been doing is really to invest in those connections to tie the whole building together. Tim and Isabel plan to leave all of these steel elements exposed to give the interior a stylish industrial aesthetic. At the same time as the steel is being installed, specialist stonemasons are beginning to deconstruct damaged internal walls. They're saving every brick, which they'll eventually use to rebuild the walls in a more structurally sound way. There are so many layers to this project. It really is a huge undertaking, and I'm wondering how Tim and Isabel are coping with it all. Now, finally, a whole bundle of things are starting to happen. How are you guys feeling? Are you excited? Terrified?
A bit of both.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting.
When you say it's interesting, I hear a little bit of fear.
There is a lot of fear, yeah. Just every room that we go into, they uncover another issue. It just adds to the budget. But it is what it is. Just keep going. We want to be in by Christmas.
We knew that it wouldn't be necessarily the easiest option for us, but it wasn't even a choice.
We have to make it work.
This place is everything to me growing up. I want it to be the same for Adeline and Tim, so.
Yeah.
Yes, darling. More? Do you want your hat?
No, she wants more. She wants more money, more time. A huge restoration like this really does require a lot of time and money. But for Isabel and her family, this isn't just about fixing a house. It's about preserving a legacy and treasured memories, things you really can't put a price on. But the legacy most of us know John for is his legendary V1000 motorbike. Back in the 90s, being a major Britten fan, I bought a replica model of that bike for my dad, and I'm getting to see the real thing and meet the man who rode it. It's really quite a privilege, Andrew, to be standing here with you, with the original #1, and me with mine. You won the World Championships on this, didn't you?
That's right, I did, yeah. I mean, we won it just 3 weeks or so before John passed away. John saw it, you know, from his bed at home, really, and I flew home with the trophy.
How did that feel?
I wanted to just do it all for him, really. Yeah, it was amazing just taking the trophy back to John. I walked into the room and he was just super emotional. Couldn't really quite keep it together.
He's inspired you, he's inspired his whole family, and now there's Isabel and Tim looking to try and save the original house. How do you feel about all of that?
Really good. Yeah, you inspire so many people all around the world. I constantly get phone calls from children at school doing their projects on John Britten, and just having another piece of what he's done restored, that's inspirational to a lot of people in itself. Isabel's got some of her dad's creativity as well. She would, you know, do a fantastic job.
By the middle of autumn, the mammoth task of strengthening the stables is in full swing.
It's exciting. We've had 10 to 12 guys here every day for the past couple of months. So we are noticing a lot of differences when we come here from the start of the week to the end of the week.
All of the steel portals are now up, and the old triple skin brick walls, which are particularly vulnerable to quake damage, are receiving some special treatment in the form of high tensile steel rods, known as heli ties.
A pilot hole is drilled, and then this thing's driven in, and it effectively ties the 3 veneers together. So we put those in at every 400 millimetres, basically a grid over the whole wall, so there's thousands of them going in here. And what they do is they really tie the wall together and just give it a bit more structural integrity. In this case, it's just shy of 2,000, so that's kept one of the lads going for weeks. I think he's over it.
There's stuff that's getting fixed and completed, and it's not going to need to be touched, and it's done. It's a nice feeling to tick something off.
I want to share Isabel's excitement, but there's still a long list of things that aren't even close to getting ticked off. Like constructing a whole new building from scratch to replace the old quake-damaged garage that today is being demolished.
The plan now is to extend it so it's double the width and double the height, which will give us an extra guest room above.
The new building will be modern, but it will be made of the original salvaged stone and brick to complement the old stables.
Wondering at one stage sort of what Dad would think of us just pulling it down, but Tim pointed out that he'd be quite happy with it.
Yeah.
We're doing something different.
As the project accelerates, Tim and Isabel start to really struggle with the ever-increasing demands on their time.
I'm going to offer Wednesday, Thursday, the week after.
So to try and stay on top of their own jobs and the build, they've made the radical decision to quit their offices in the city to work from a shared rental space, which is moments from the stables.
Coming and going 3 or 4 times a day was just taking up too much time. Every day there's things changing and questions to be asked. It's saved time, but we've, that time that we've saved, we just spend it on the house or doing more work.
I'm not opposed to working hard. It's in my character that this is incredibly intense, and I feel sorry for Adeline, to be honest, because at the end of it, I haven't got as much time for her as I'd like. Sometimes when I'm feeling overwhelmed by it, I think about
my father and all the things that he did, and when he chose to do something, he didn't give up. And I sort of think, you chose to do this, keep going and push on and, yeah, man up. Work harder, get it done.
As winter sets in, repairs to the stable's roof structure are underway. But until linings were removed, no one was fully prepared for what would be uncovered there.
You know, the strengthening required to the existing structure has just been immense. This is a good example where we've had to splice on the side of this rafter. You've also got damage, borer, rot.
It's looking like as much as 80% of the timber will have to be replaced and new ridge beams are needed, as well as yet more steel. So both budget and schedule are going to take a hammering. But in spite of this, Tim and Isabel are still aiming to have their B&B up and running for summer.
We've actually taken a booking for the whole house for February. So it's making me feel very happy, but also very nervous. I'm sure it'll be done on time. It's just, this feels like a long way to go.
I'd say there's a very long way to go. But thankfully, at least, some good headway has been made on the new garage with the loft studio above it.
It's a clean, easy build. It's going up quickly, it's going up straight.
Without nasty surprises.
Yeah, without surprises.
Since Tim and Isabel sold their home to help fund the project, they've been living in a rental. But to save money, they plan to move into the studio while they're waiting for the stables to be finished.
It's really exciting, actually, to think we're going to be in there in a few months' time.
Yep, one bedroom studio with a baby.
Adeline's going to be sleeping in the laundry or the kitchen. No, yeah. We'll be fine.
I admire Tim and Isabel's determination, but to complete this complex project in the remaining 5 months of their schedule is extremely ambitious. One person who really knows what these guys are going through is Kirstine, who supports them by looking after Adeline, which she fits in around her work as a dyslexia coach working with clients one-on-one.
Great, so you made a tea. Are you happy with your tea?
Kirstine was inspired to take up this work because she's dyslexic herself, and so was husband John.
I think we both felt embarrassed about our spelling and reading, and so we felt comfortable with each other, you know, and accepted each other, seeing each other from the same tribe almost. Yeah. John's visual spatial ability, which comes from his dyslexia, was a gift, and he did manage to use his gift to create the stables and many other wonderful designs that he could visualise in his head.
Isabel is also dyslexic and has worked hard to navigate any barriers she's faced with learning.
Well, I'm enormously proud of her. She's got lots of John's intelligence and vision, his tenacity. I mean, she chooses to do something and she sticks with it. And sometimes when I see them struggling and things are going wrong, I feel sorry for them, you know, but they should be very proud of themselves. It has proved to be bigger than we ever imagined the project to be.
After a long, wet winter, finally the tarpaulins are coming off because repairs to the roof structure are almost complete. But the huge unforeseen scale of the task has taken its toll. To boost manpower, Tim is now working up to 6 hours a day on site while still trying to run his business.
Gone from having 4 guys working 2 weeks on the roof, we've now had 10 guys on the roof for 6 weeks. So we're up to about 180 grand on the roof. So that's pretty much our contingency gone in one area of the house.
I feel worried that I've pushed him too far to do something that is really what I want, not necessarily what he wanted, and he's on board because he loves me. And I just feel really quite guilty that this is going to put us in a situation financially where it's going to be incredibly difficult.
But at least today there's some real visible progress happening that's helping to lift Tim and Isabel's flagging morale. The last of the heavy, brittle tiles are being removed, and the first section of the new steel roofing is being installed.
Sun's out, the guys are powering through the roof now.
Happy that it's on, not happy how much it's cost us to get the roof on, but no.
We'll look back in a few years, having a glass of red, and it'll all be worth it. We can just laugh about it.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah.
With just 3 months to go before their ambitious Christmas deadline, Tim and Isabel are continuing to do as much as they can to move their project ahead. And today for Isabel, it's the restoration of one of my favourite features of the house, the beautiful conservatory staircase.
What your dad did here is just deeply inspired by nature. You know, the way that nature works, the way that it ticks. And for me, the stair epitomises that.
There's so many shapes that are not often used in houses. In the windows and even the other staircase, it wraps around and up, and it's warm.
John created this staircase to provide an exquisite centrepiece to the house, but it turned out to be much more than that.
You know, when we were kids, this house was sort of a giant playground. We'd put out the hose up here and the boogie boards on and some dishwashing liquid, and we'd fly down into the pool, you know, every now and then into the posts. Or
Oh, God.
We just had so much fun here.
I have to ask the question, so if you come home from work one day and Adeline has got the hose going and the boogie board.
I'll laugh. I'll laugh. I hope she does, you know, like that's what this is about to me, is not only recreating those memories, but adding a whole lot of new memories.
It's mid-October, which is when Tim and Isabel were supposed to be moving into the studio.
Can you pour over in here?
Yeah. I fall.
But that's a long way off happening, mostly due to complications with the large triangular windows that are to fill the gables in both the studio and the stables.
Originally, a window came out a few weeks ago and it had the triangle ends chopped off the bottom, which we weren't expecting, and I think there went a bit of a miscommunication on that, so that was really disappointing.
The windows got sent back to the factory to have the triangular points added, and 3 weeks later, they're being delivered to site.
Today is the day that they arrive, how we imagined.
6 windows are supposed to be delivered, but just one has arrived. And the triangular points that were missing have been added, but not in the way that was anticipated.
We expected a better finish on this join here, and potentially a weld. And this is wet, so this is all just gone in this morning.
You've waited so long, you're settling for that. I wouldn't.
It's a really hard decision because
So far behind.
we're so far behind. And so if we turn this back and we say, no, we're not happy with it, then how much further behind does that put the project?
Might as well get it in there and see what it looks like.
This window is one of 2 that will feature at either end of the new studio. 4 matching ones will also go into the stables, which is part of Tim and Isabel's modern twist.
I just want the windows in. I've got everybody else booked in and inspector booked in for the pre-line check. Yeah. It's a bit heartbreaking.
It may not have the finish that was hoped for, but at least the frame seems to be going into place.
Well, it fits, which is a good start. I haven't heard any bad words yet.
Sadly, Tim may have spoken too soon.
It's really hard for me not to swear at the moment. We've got daylight coming through all of the joins. They've forgot to weld some of the joins. The window's got to go.
Just feeling frustrated. We never achieved what we wanted to achieve today. We're expecting 6 gable frames and all the glazing to be installed, and we end up getting 1 substandard frame. So we're lost, we're just stuck. They're really hurting hurting us, hurting the job.
It's almost a month since the studio was scheduled to be finished, and it's still not complete. But the lease on Tim and Isabel's rental has expired, so they've had to move in with Tim's parents as a stopgap.
Right, okay.
Adeline,
How am I going to
peeling
peel?
the potatoes. Why don't you peel the potatoes and let Mummy sit down?
Well, there haven't been
Sort
any arguments.
No.
We've survived. We've all survived in close quarters.
Yeah.
80 and Dave, they've really taken care of us. So we can focus on the house, and it's very generous. For Adeline, it's just magic.
You love water.
We're having lots of fun. That's for sure.
Can you get it? Can you get it?
I think that when we leave here, 80 and Dave will probably really miss Adeline, but they might enjoy having some peace and quiet sometimes. Adeline's developed her talking a lot in the last couple of months, but she's also learning how to yell and things like this.
Yeah, well, you can show a bit of respect for your grandfather.
While the family support is a comfort, it hasn't lessened Tim and Isabel's urgency to get into their own home. 6 agonisingly long weeks have passed since the failed gable window installation. In that time, another company was enlisted to take over the job, and today, at last, that new joinery has been delivered to site.
Should we go touch the glass?
Well, it means we can seal the house off so it can be watertight. So let's just hope that it's, it's all right and all goes done.
I actually feel really nervous. It's just gone wrong so many times.
The plan today is to finally get all 6 gable windows fitted and glazed. One of them, I think, is particularly special because the frame's a combination of durable aluminium on the outside and wonderful Rimu timber on the inside.
You just watch out for the scaffolding. Work.
Looks beautiful. Really happy with it. Yeah, it's stunning.
It's going into one of the B&B suites and has a door that will open onto a small balcony.
Oh, how's that for gentle?
Choosing to open up the old brick gables and fill them with these very modern windows was a bold move on Tim and Isabel's part because, in my experience, successfully marrying traditional and contemporary styles is not easy.
Perfect.
Over in the new studio, some of the glazing is underway. The faulty frame in the rear gable has been replaced and the glass for the central apex is going in. I feel relieved for these guys that this second attempt at getting the windows in seems to be going smoothly.
Fits. Like a glove. No, it's a good result. Perfect result.
I'm now just hoping that the rest of the windows go in as easily because Tim and Isabel desperately need to get this place closed in. Something I find particularly interesting about the Stables project is that it's a real balancing act of integrating different styles and eras, which feeds right through to the interior design.
This is the tap fitting here with the walnut. Looks lovely.
And then the white. We've got white, the vanity.
At a Christchurch showroom, Isabel has the challenge of searching for fittings with a contemporary look she and Tim love, that also will work alongside John's wonderful handcrafted pieces.
A lot of the tapware that we're purchasing is in the brushed brass, and that's sort of because it's going to age over time and become like the same sort of shade of these lights that he created. I sort of want to be brave like he was. Some of the things he did were just not normal run-of-the-mill, and I'm using that as an inspiration for the decisions I make. Putting them back into the house feels really special. It sort of feels that they belong there, and one day I hope to know that all of these beautiful things that my father made are being sort of preserved and be seen by the next generation, like Adeline's children.
It's a couple of weeks now since the gable windows went in. I'm really interested to see how they'll look. Ah, it seems like Tim and Isabel's gamble might have paid off.
Now that you've finally got the windows in, I mean, that must feel wonderful.
Yeah, we're
Done.
watertight. They're in.
And they look beautiful. And I'm, you know, in a way, the strands of the old character of the original building are still here. They're really, really strong. The roof, the new windows, are locking in from above. Yeah. It's light, it's ductile, it's good in earthquakes. So these two things are now talking to each other. That's your layer.
It's like the icing on the cake. Yeah. It works, we're really happy with it.
With the stables closed in at last, they've been able to start lining the interior. But it's only a couple of weeks away from Christmas, which is when Tim and Isabel had hoped to have the entire project complete. And even the studio still isn't ready for them to move into.
So tell me, how are things going in terms of timing and cost?
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a minute.
Yeah, everything's blown out, but we've come to a realisation, I guess, that it is what it is. We can't change it. We need to finish the project, whatever happens.
We've had to go back to the bank.
Yep, back to the bank, just waiting on their decision. But yeah, cross that bridge.
We'll tell you at the end where we get to.
I seem to recall that you had some bookings for February, was it?
They're still booked in, so
yeah.
We're really hoping that we'll be finished enough. Yeah.
We'll put up some teepees or a yurt and sleep in there. A camping sort of
you'll
feel.
Be sleeping in that.
Exactly.
Yeah, with air mattresses.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We're camping.
These guys are very good at putting on a brave face. But they're under huge pressure now to get their B&B up and running by late summer to start paying off the large debt they've taken on. Looking at all they still have to do, though, I really don't see how that's going to happen. It's a year and a half since Tim and Isabel began restoring the extraordinary home John Britten created from an old brick stable block. Saving the house turned out to be much tougher than they ever expected. It's so packed full of priceless memories and intriguing traces of John's amazing talent. Backing out was never going to be an option. 9 months ago, when I last visited, the place was still in quite a state. I really hope by now they've been able to move in and their B&B's up and running. Wow. This is looking promising. Hey!
Hi, Chris. How you going?
Good to see you. It looks absolutely stunning. John's beautiful doors looking very polished and sleek. And I love this little wink to the street. Magical.
It's a lovely view from up there. That's Adeline's bedroom.
Wonderful. I can't wait to have a look inside.
Well, come on in.
Oh my goodness. It's gorgeous. Already I can see Tim and Isabel's bold modern influence here. Oh gosh, this is beautiful.
Thank you.
To see the conservatory restored to its former glory with the pool sparkling again is very special. And the stair looks fabulous. It's come up well after all that hard work.
After that hard painting.
Yeah.
And what's through here?
And this is Tim's favourite room.
A billiard room? With the exposed brick and steel, Tim and Isabel have already achieved that edgy industrial look they were aiming for. It's come up so well in here. Gorgeous with this lovely big table.
This was our late grandfather's table, Bruce Britten, and he was an avid billiard player, Bruce. We have no idea how to play billiards, but we'll learn.
So this will be quite a special room then for guests coming to stay.
Absolutely, because we're going to live on this side of the house and we've got the rooms over this side. We hope that this is a point in the middle that we can come together, have a glass of wine or a whiskey.
The billiard room leads through to the cosy sitting room, which truly embodies John's wonderfully unconventional style and holds a rather special surprise. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, isn't she beautiful?
Believe it.
It's magic to have her back.
That is mind-boggling.
I love coming downstairs and it's just here. Oh, good morning.
The thing that is so amazing, all of these fabulous parabolic curves everywhere that are also here. It's like these things are talking to each other. Tim and Isabel's brilliant decision to fill the gables with glass has brought so much light to the upstairs spaces that were once rather dark.
And this is our bedroom.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Isn't it beautiful?
And to wake up to this every morning. I love John's balustrade. I mean, such beautiful shapes.
And each one of those was made out of rowing oars.
Wow, that's a few boats.
Yes.
Off the master bedroom is the ensuite, which they've modernised while still managing to incorporate some of the original fittings.
There's some of the taps that Dad made, the old swan ones.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. I love what you've done with the bronze everywhere. There's a lovely kind of juxtaposition between these elements from your dad and what you guys have brought to this.
And look. Getting fit.
Finally
into the
fit.
shower. Oh, it's going to drip on me.
Next door is Adeline's room with that striking gable window. In her bathroom, soft pink tiles subtly echo John's beautiful handcrafted lampshades. Do I sit here? Can we cut up the tomato?
You cannot.
Oh, but what are we going to cook on them?
Nothing.
Nothing?
You just play.
But I'm hungry.
No.
Across from the master bedroom are the two B&B suites, which didn't get finished in time for that booking back in February. But they're now complete and looking incredibly elegant and stylish. And the brand new garage with loft studio above fully reflects Tim and Isabel's clean, contemporary aesthetic. These guys really have put their all into this home. But of course, there's a very important person they could never have done it without. How does it feel to be back in this beautiful space?
Oh, it's amazing to have it as a whole again. A few weeks back, Izzy sent me a picture of the lights on. Just seeing it lit again after all these years was really, really emotional, actually.
Well done, Kirstine. For all of you, what an achievement. You two have really put in the blood, sweat and tears. How does that feel? I mean, finally you're here.
Exhausting.
It's pretty amazing
Exciting.
to be finished. It just feels like we're home and kind of something magical about it.
Yeah, it's a special place. I'm glad that we got here. It was really, really hard. Friends and family sort of got put aside and this house took over. The beast, I called it. The beast.
It's been a real enlightenment into how did Dad do it. He did most of it himself or with a few friends.
I've always said if John could build this, we can at least fix it.
We can fix it, yeah.
You know, with a team of people.
So what did it cost in the end?
Oh, that was good. Under budget. Well, under.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh.
It certainly blew out a lot more than what we hoped.
Double, triple, quadruple?
No.
Not double. No.
It might be another 30% more than what we sort of thought.
We've hit at least 2.5. And that was money we really didn't have. So we've had to take on a lot more debt. You know, we hope that the bed and breakfast works and that it all pays off for us.
You know, there have been so many challenges that you've had through all of this. What have you learned from each other through it?
The things I've learnt about Tim is his commitment to seeing it through. I know there's times when he probably wished that we'd never done it, but really his ability to keep going despite all of that.
The end result is wicked. It is so incredibly beautiful. Well done.
Thank you.
I wish you every success from here on in because you damn well deserve it.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
That's good.
For Tim and Isabel, this has been an incredibly testing project. But they should be very proud of what they've achieved. By saving this magical place, they're keeping John's legacy alive. But they've also bravely incorporated their own design ideas, adding their chapter to this very special story. Wellington's many wharves are huge structures that have defined the harbour for over a century. Not something you'd imagine refashioning to use in a stunning piece of modern architecture. But then, one person's trash is another's treasure. Patty Coley has a passion for antiques bordering on hoarding.
Good to see you again.
Sorry, what are you after?
Looking for a dining table.
Anything with a story or an old world charm to add to her ever-growing collection.
Gorgeous. I've come to realise that maybe it is an obsession. Antiques and old items, they tell a story. I just love conjuring up in my mind where it's come from, who made it, and if it could talk, what could it tell me?
Now, Patty's taking her interest one step further. She wants to build a new home out of historic materials that will provide the perfect backdrop for her antiques.
I've dreamed for years of building a house that I can bring all my treasures together. I thought, well, this interior of the house cannot really be ultra-modern. So now I want to embark on this journey of finding old recycled timbers, brick, old tapware, and anything that tells the story of New Zealand.
After 45 years of marriage, her husband Jeff has become a very patient man.
When we go past an antique shop, I'll end up usually sitting outside.
In fact, he's oddly proud of his wife's self-confessed obsession.
She's just got this amazing talent to find this old stuff.
I can see that sitting on a side table.
I do wonder where it's going to end because there's only so many places you can put antiques in a house.
Which is part of the reason why the Auckland couple want to build a spectacular new beach house in Mangawhai, a couple of hours north of Auckland. A place they can unwind with their 3 children and grandkids and get away from the rigours of running one of the city's largest party hire companies.
Gosh, this is idyllic.
Can't get much better than this.
How on earth did you find this?
Well, Chris, we've been coming up here near on 20 years now. We started off in the camping ground and we had a fabulous permanent caravan site there right on the water. And I always said to Jeff, one day when we outgrow the caravan because of grandchildren coming along, that I would love to get a section on the water. And I used to kayak over here like we are now and very wantingly look at this site.
Then, 4 years ago, the opportunity came up for them to buy the site. The acre-sized plot already has a 1-bedroom batch on it. Patty and Jeff will use this when they come up from their home in Auckland to help with the build. This is magic. Wow. I mean, the bird life must be amazing.
Oh, it's wonderful. Right from pukekos to seagulls to larks.
What a spot. But I see you've been building already. You've started?
Well, physically 5 months ago with regards to the slab, yes. 3.5 years ago is when we first started this whole project from the drawing board.
So what is the plan?
The plan is to create a family bolt hole up here. We wanted our grandchildren, which would be 6 of them, to be able to come up here bare feet, hop in the kayak, swim off the jetty.
What's it going to feel like?
Boathouse.
A boathouse?
Industrial.
An industrial boathouse.
It's going to be totally black on the outside, so when we're out in the water kayaking, you can't see it.
That sounds mad. I mean, here we are in an area which gets loads of glorious sunshine,
And you paint it black?
Yeah, we didn't want something that stuck
Stood
out.
So outside is quite modern, minimalistic. Inside has a sense of history and will be very eclectic.
Tell me a little bit more about the sense of history. Where's that come from?
I don't like new products. I want something that has a story. Majority of our living spaces will have recycled brick from the Real Groovy record building in Queen Street, and the remainder of them from the Albion Hotel in Gisborne.
Wow.
The trusses that we're using, the timber for those come off the old tug wharf in Wellington.
Oh, good heavens. So you're basically doing a reassemblage of all the bits and pieces of the old towns, around the country, all coming together
right here.
Patty and Jeff's 3-bedroom home is modelled on a classic Kiwi boat shed. 4 interconnecting pavilions hide a complex internal steel structure designed to support 9 huge recycled hardwood trusses. Continuing with the industrial theme, Patty's cladding the internal walls with handmade 100-year-old bricks and reclaimed rimu. Corner windows maximise stunning views over the Mangawhai estuary. In the kitchen is a massive engineer's drawing table refashioned as a bench. An exterior courtyard provides a generous outdoor living space, leading on to Patty and Jeff's master bedroom, where a freestanding bath is supported by a handcrafted wooden deck. Behind is a guest bedroom, bathroom and bunk room for the grandchildren. The exterior will be clad in black aluminium, creating a contemporary feel to this unique family home which pulls together an eclectic mix of historic New Zealand.
I love the site. It's really, really beautiful. And the thing that I think is so magical about it is the fact that you've got a jetty here and that you're bringing Wellington's wharf
To here.
It's beautiful.
That's what I love about what we're doing.
Tell me, what's your budget?
Budget, we're looking at about 1.3.
1.3?
When we first started 4 years ago, we had about 800 in our mind.
So it's already doubled?
No, not quite, not quite.
One of the main reasons the budget has doubled is the industrial look Patty's after is expensive. Recycled materials are more costly than standard off-the-shelf products. It's a specialty area of the building trade run by a handful of impassioned characters.
I'm very passionate about it. I get excited, get choked up sometimes.
It was Mike who 4 months back introduced Patty to the idea of using hardwood for her trusses in the great room. She had planned to use ordinary pine recommended by Nick, her project manager, but Mike persuaded them to come down to Tauranga to see the hardwood in the raw.
I can tell by the look on your face that you're going, what am I doing here? That's fine, that's fine. This is from a Wellington wharf, which was built in 1896.
Wow.
Deconstructed in 2014. So you can see the condition. I don't think our friendly pine would last the distance as this stuff has.
Wow, so this has actually got a story.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
This fits in my head brief of what I want for this house.
I can see how this textured, beautiful hardwood would give Patty that edgy industrial look she wants. But it doesn't come cheap or without problems, like how to support their colossal weight.
We have trusses sitting on cantilevered steel beams with corner windows. So we may have to change and increase the size of those steel beams.
So that means a hell of a lot more engineering from our point of view, which equates to dollars.
It does. This is going to blow the budget. There's going to be a huge amount of increased costs.
Yeah, definitely. It's
story of my life.
Yeah. I can tell you now, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's not a game of tiddlywinks, and it's reflected in the cost.
I just have to be the realist, and it's the budget. This isn't tens of thousands. This is hundreds of thousands.
In some respects, I wish I hadn't have come down now, because now I'm going to have my heart set on this. I'm 99.99% sure that this is sort of what I've been looking for, because I always felt that there was a piece of the puzzle for my vision missing, and now I think maybe I might have found it.
Mike's hardwood is going to cost Patty around $200,000, 4 times as much as using pine, and that's not all.
The challenges are huge. They're not just structural. There's also a lot of craftsmanship required. They're very, very heavy. The question for me is she just getting carried away by the romance of all of this? Because This is almost the cost of a house.
And sure enough, within weeks of Patty's decision to go ahead with the hardwood, her lead builder Nathan has worrying news for her.
Patty, we've got a slight hiccup. We've had some information back from our engineer and architect saying that the hardwood that you want to use for your trusses, looking on paper, the timber is not suitable.
For God's sake. So what do we do?
We're going to get the timber scientifically tested, and the science will prove that it is totally acceptable. It will be a boxing match, won't be a tickling competition. But we can do it.
Oh, well, they're not going to beat us. It's ridiculous. You know, this wood's been in the ocean for over 100 years. It's been holding up a blimmin' wharf, and we want to build trusses out of it, and now we've got to turn around and get it scientifically tested.
While the engineers and council wait on the scientific report and deliberate on whether the ironbark wood is suitable to make into trusses, no work can happen on the site. 3 months go by and the foundations become a playground for spiders. Eventually, a call to the architect reveals the result of the scientific report.
All right, yeah. Ah, that's great. Oh, well, thank you. That is some good news. Good news. OK, oh, well, no doubt we'll be in touch very soon. Yeah, he's got it. He's sent the information to the engineers. He could have told me, but anyway, and so now they're working on the calculations to get the trusses underway, so we're getting there.
The good news means the local building team can finally begin.
Fantastic, couldn't have asked for a better location. Right round the corner from home. Well, this is the big show. Pretty exciting, a lot happens today.
Within 2 days, Patty and Jeff will be able to see what 4 years of planning and dreaming looks like. And it's no small achievement.
Wow, look how big it is. I have to pinch myself to say, well, it's actually really happening.
Really exciting. I could stand here all day and watch this. It's a momentous day.
But there are also momentous challenges ahead. The complexity of working with recycled products like the ironbark trusses would have even the most experienced of builders feeling a tad worried.
We've done a lot of exposed trusses and worked with a lot of hardwoods, but not hardwood that's been sitting in the ocean for 70, 80 years, getting harder and harder and harder.
In Mangawhai, the wooden framing is up, but there's been another hold-up. The scientific report on the trusses delayed the construction of the steel portals. This vital structural element will hold their colossal weight. So while the site lies idle, I've come to Tauranga to check on the progress of the first truss.
So, Patty, what do you reckon?
For once, I'm speechless. It's amazing.
They're beasts.
They are beasts. So, Mike, what have you done? It's amazing.
A lot of sweat, a lot of tears, some language. One of the biggest things was getting all the bolts out. They were actually recessed in. There was hardwood plugs over the top, so you couldn't see those, and you had to take them out from the other side. That was a lot of fun.
Bit of hard yakka.
I love the idea of Patty and Mike taking this remnant from the past and fashioning it into a beautiful new structure that will develop its own history over time.
For me, this is pretty emotional because, you know, I know this wharf well. I've seen 3 generations of tugs come and go down there. My great love was watching Toya and Kupe charging across Wellington Harbour.
In a different part of the yard is another forgotten fragment of the past that Mike's keen to transform into metal plates to hold the trusses together.
So this might look like a pile of rubbish, but I'll show you what it is. Here we go. Whoa! So that's what we're going to make our plates out of. It was tank plate holding cyanide in the mines in Waihi.
Not everybody can see the beauty in that. We can, because of the story.
You're a tiger for punishment.
I love it.
Yeah.
He does. He absolutely does. And we are just so fortunate to have met Mike. Just have total trust in you. And we value your opinion and your creativity. And we could not have done this without you and for you offering to do it. Now I'm going to cry. Because it's a very emotional trip. I mean, it's our dream, but he's made our dream come true.
The trouble with emotion is it's not always a friend of logic. And while Patty and Mike get excited about the aesthetics, it's architectural designer Frank Stanton's job to work out the daunting prospect of getting the trusses into place on site.
And I'm going to take you through that now.
The trusses will be levered into place in two halves, each slotting into a cleat on the ridge beam where they will be bolted into place. Then, a kingpin will slide up between them to give the appearance of a single beam.
And now you can put the little kingpin up there.
That's
And
the right
that's
way
our
around.
final piece that will go in, yep. So hopefully it goes together like that on site and we don't have any chaos and it all comes collapsing down, but we have our hard hats on it.
While the site in Mangawhai waits for the steel portals to arrive, Patty and Jeff are back in Auckland working at the party hire company they run with two of their three children.
Have we got 500 grand Bordeaux?
Mum started the business about 20 years ago in the garage of our house. We used to come home from school and Mum would be down in the garage until midnight washing glasses and packing orders for the next day. Dad would always be helping when he got home from work and we'd kind of help in the holidays and after school.
The business has since grown and is spread over 3 warehouses, some of which contain Patty's ever-expanding antique collection.
I've been collecting really since we got married, which was back in 1974. We've got another warehouse around the corner here. The mezzanine is absolutely chocker. It's full to the stairs.
Got a container out the front, Mum and Dad's house, my grandma's garage. There is stuff everywhere.
But keeping on top of Patty's acquisitions and working 7 days a week while also managing the bill is starting to take its toll, and the cracks are beginning to appear.
You can sort of see the stresses or lack of contact when there is stuff happening around the build and setbacks and the rest of it. I don't think they've let on as much as probably what they have felt. They tend to keep that stuff away from us.
500 tall tumblers.
Yep, those are all there. I just really, just kind of in awe of Mum. She's a pretty amazing lady. The Mangawhai house has just been such a kind of passion and dream of Mum's forever, and having the business and everything is all contributing to this dream house that's currently underway. And I know Mum's just, and Dad, they're just so proud and excited about it, and we get to be part of it, so pretty lucky.
By midsummer, that long-awaited dream home is finally inching one step closer towards completion. The steel portals have arrived, which means the giant trusses can now be installed. But before they are, Patty and Jeff are paying Mike a visit in Tauranga to decide which one will go where.
Said they got to get down here and we'll lift each one of the 9 trusses up and they can view both sides.
As far as the outside courtyard's concerned, the first truss has got to be the one that's, the most character to it.
With each truss 8 metres across and weighing over a tonne, they can't afford to change their mind.
I reckon that one should go down by the kitchen bench.
The one decision you don't make is what happens in the ladies' kitchen dining lounge.
Then we've got to decide those 2 along the back probably will be 5 and 6.
Creating these trusses has been a labour of love for Mike, who wishes he could keep them for himself.
Yeah, I'd like to own them, and my good lady would like to own them. I keep buying lotto tickets.
But Mike's going to need more than a lucky strike to get these giants out of the yard and craned into place on site. Having come this far, he can't let Patty down now.
I'm not scared of many things, but I'm scared of Patty.
To you. In Forest Hill in Auckland, to celebrate Patty's birthday, the family are having a get-together.
Happy birthday to you. Well like to think we're a pretty close family. Two out of our three children, we see them work-wise, professionally, but we see them as a family as well. But we tend to try and not talk about work too much during social times, even though that is very hard with the men in our lives.
Which is why Patty and Jeff have chosen a place away from Auckland and work.
I mean, this is what this whole new house is about, providing an area we can all have fun together as a family. You know, we've got kayaks and cricket, swimming, you know, at the end of the garden. I want the children to grow up with that sense of freedom in summer.
We've always kept very close, and we're a big family, aren't we? When we all get together. Yeah. And I said, don't know why we're all so close. Perhaps it's because we're all such lovely people.
It's clear to me Patty's driving the ideas behind this build. I'm just wondering how much of a say Jeff's getting in Patty's grand design.
Dad just, I don't know, sits quietly and nods his head, I think.
You're going to feed the horse?
He's a very patient man. Yeah, he just nods and smiles and gets on with it and pays the bills.
He really leaves it up to me. I mean, I pass everything by him, of course. Initially, I have to say, yes, he was a bit hesitant because of the dollars.
All those hundreds of thousands of dollars Patty spent on the recycled materials. But there's no going back on that decision now. As light comes up over the water, a new day is dawning on sight. A morning everyone's been waiting for, because today is the day of the first truss.
This is a big day, isn't it? I mean, you've been waiting, how many? 3 years?
3 years.
Wow.
I know. Makes me go all goosey. You know, it's a lot of hard work that's gone in behind the scenes to get this far.
Nervous at all?
Yeah, I am nervous.
It's been an early start for everyone. Mike left Tauranga at 3 a.m. to avoid carrying the trusses on his truck through the Auckland traffic. Architectural designer Frank has come to have a look too. It's his calculations they're all working to.
Well, the lads are certainly going to have to hold this one.
The crane has to swing the truss up against the steel frame so that it can be slotted into the cleat on the ridge beam.
The trusses were put together in Tauranga. The steel has come from somewhere completely different, and this is the first time that they're all coming together. The holes have already been drilled, and that could be a problem because the bolts going through might not align perfectly with these pre-drilled holes. So a lot of pushing and nudging and the odd hammer. But a sledgehammer's tiny compared to these things. They're so heavy.
We're just trying to jockey it into position. This is a pivotal moment until we get it close. We're a little way off yet.
Mike's on tenterhooks. All those months of work may now be in vain.
Harsh jumping out.
So are these holes going to line up properly? Fingers crossed.
Yeah, so what happens if it doesn't work?
Well, you're right. Take it away and...
I suppose take it away.
Yeah.
It's been touch and go now for a couple of hours. But then there's progress.
Yeah, nice. She's all good now. We've got one bolt in.
That must have been a bit of a relief.
Yeah, definitely.
Now for the next one.
Top it a little bit. Top it.
That looks really tight, eh?
There's clearly a serious problem here because the second half comes down as quickly as it went up.
This one, what happened there?
It looks like possibly the hardwood has moved a little bit, maybe swollen, and it's just pinching again on that tab. That's all the issue we're having. So they're just going to widen it slightly, maybe 2 or 3 mil, and it should slot in.
There's a lot of improvising as you go, trying to make it work. And I'm really intrigued. I mean, today is really a trial run, but is every single truss going to be like this? Could take quite a while to put these out.
Top it a little bit. Top it.
Yeah, that's good. Moving freely. Yeah, nice.
4 hours later, the truss is finally in place.
John Britten, aim to go. Yeah.
just
Happy.
exactly what I thought it would be, or what I hoped it would be, and it is.
I really like Patty's dream of bringing together historic parts of New Zealand under one roof. A place of stories, and within that, Patty and Jeff's own story. And in Patty and Jeff's case, the story of their house is about bringing a jetty from Wellington all the way here and connecting it literally to their very own jetty. There's something rather special about that. And I'm keen to know more about the origin of jetties and wharves, in particular Ferry Wharf, where Patty and Jeff's trusses come from. Wellington historian Jock Phillips took me to the city's Maritime Museum to find out.
All our people came by sea, all our goods came by sea. So jetties and wharves were an absolute lifeblood of the community. All these jetties initially were privately owned, and they weren't very strong. So from the 1860s, the Chamber of Commerce in Wellington said, we can't just depend on these rickety private jetties, we've got to build proper wharves. And they decided to build Queen's Wharf. And then they had to build another wharf for the ferries. And so Ferry Wharf was constructed in 1896.
The timber that Ferry Wharf was constructed out of stood the test of time for over 100 years. And that's what's exciting about this grand design. Patty and Jeff are encouraging us to celebrate the beauty of these old handcrafted materials from which our country was built, even though it cost them a small fortune and a lot of time. It's a mission that's taken the couple the length and breadth of the country, creating a sort of historic jigsaw puzzle. Patty's latest find is some recycled rimu that comes from Wellington's Whitkill store built in 1908.
Now, apparently the Whitkill's building stood for about 94, 95 years. Again, it tells a story like the trusses in the house.
The rimu will be used to make heavy wooden doors.
It does give a little bit of a challenge using recycled timber, and we're trying to retain that recycled look. It's been bandsawn from big chunks of timber, so it can bow, it can move. So to put that through the machines, you have to be careful how you straighten it, and each piece is going to be a different thickness.
Being a craftsman, Terence is carving out a series of mortise and tenon joints, a traditional method of joining wood that's been used for centuries.
There's a lot of work in it. I do it the old-fashioned way. I think they're going to be special doors, and they're building a special house, so I'm looking forward to seeing the finished product in place.
I'm wondering how Patty's going to tie all these disparate elements together. I hope it doesn't end up looking kitsch. All these relics from the past wrapped up in a big black modern box. But it's just too early to tell at this stage how the marriage between the old and the new is going to work, especially when the structural elements of the house aren't fully built.
We've had a trial run with one truss a couple of weeks ago, and now the rest, the 8, are here.
Each truss is individual. They all have their own character. There's a bit of mucking around a bit just to try and make them all get to the right sort of plane height for the roof.
At the moment, they are predicting about 3 hours per truss.
Okay. See if you can slide it up and onto it.
But already, this looks like it's going to be a bigger job than anticipated.
Now we need to come down. I'm going to line it up with these holes here.
I guess we didn't realise that this wasn't going to be that easy.
I'm not one to say I told you so, but Mike did warn Patty using recycled products isn't for the faint-hearted.
We're in donkey deep now. We've got a long way to go, but we accept that.
Okay. Tight, yeah, down a wee bit.
A little bit more. Oh my God. I don't want to watch.
It's been a dismal winter. The whole country's been battered by storms. But despite the bad weather, the house is now almost closed in, with the roof and the exterior cladding going on in the rain.
Extremely wet this winter. Apparently double the amount of rainfall there was last year. It's been trying conditions, especially for the roofers. So we've probably lost about maybe 10 days.
It makes things a lot slower for us and we've got to be a lot more careful. So it does take more time, but as you know, it's all part of New Zealand climate.
Inside, Patty's making up for lost time by painting 280 square metres of poplar sarking.
This is for the ceilings right throughout the house. So I am whitewashing it in a light grey because it'll bring lightness to the place and it'll be a good contrast to the big trusses.
The trusses which now look majestic in the great room.
We're going to be functional by Christmas is the plan. Functional. The roof nearly done.
Special moment.
So, special moment. So now we're nearly weather tight.
While progress inches forward due to the bad weather, Jeff's keeping the business afloat in Auckland. He's also been tasked with finding some of the key items for the great room, which have been stored away for safekeeping.
There is stuff in here that's been here for a couple of years that has been earmarked for Mangawhai. This is a lampshade that is has come from the South Island, and it's made out of barbed wire, and there's a place in Mangawhai for this. I'll be pretty happy actually when we empty this out because I need the space. We've got the big island bench. Patty found it in Blenheim. It's come out of an engineering shop, got a big hole in it from where they had a drill press or something mounted on it, but it's all part of the look that we're going to have, so it's rustic, put it that way. Thank you, guys. Good luck at the other end, Matt.
The house has been closed in now for over 2 months, but a lot of the real work is still to come, and this is the part I'm excited to see executed. It's the heart of Patty's vision. Internally, every room is to be clad in recycled materials from reclaimed timber to 100-year-old handmade bricks. These require expert craftsmen with an eye for detail. It's slow work that can't be hurried, like the wooden deck Nathan's creating for Patty's freestanding bath, the centrepiece of her bedroom.
Basically, your bath rounds off just there.
Very cool.
I'm really enjoying working with this timber. We usually get to work with a lot more modern timbers that have been machined perfectly. This is way more rustic, so yeah, I'm loving it.
Outside, Dan's cutting the old bricks salvaged from Auckland's Real Groovy store. These will line the back wall of the kitchen in the great room. Patty's then adding a further effect by bagging the bricks with concrete, which when brushed off will create a distressed look.
Because that's raw, and to me that looks too uniform. It just gives it that bit more industrial edge. I would defy anyone to say that this isn't an old wall.
Yeah.
This is just the perfect look. And because it's perfectly imperfect, but that's perfect for me.
Patty's imperfect wall has caused dissent among the tradies, many of whom think that it's criminal to cover up such beautiful historic bricks. But Patty's not one to be swayed by opinion. From the start, she's been clear about her vision.
This room has so much of New Zealand in it, and that's what I'm so excited and feel really buzzy about, that I can look everywhere in here and think, wow, here are these trusses dating back to 1894. I look at this rimu that comes from the Te Puna Hall just out of Tauranga, and this dates back to the early 1920s. You know, we're just so proud to think that we've got this history of New Zealand sitting here in this brand new house.
I've always been intrigued to see how Patty's going to marry this minimalistic modern black exterior with her eclectic historic interior. It could feel forced and contrived, or it could really work and be a true expression of her artistic talent. So much thought has gone into every detail, including where to find things like authentic lighting.
Oh, I'm interested in these ones. Now, lighting's been quite difficult because where do you find vintage lighting? Well, I found it here. So I love these lights. I can see a use for them in the kitchen above my big steel kitchen bench. What's the story behind them?
So we salvage them out of old factory. They come from East Germany. They are explosion-proof.
It's good for the pressure cooker.
Yeah, it gives a good look, you know.
And a story, that's what I'm after. I'm very excited of seeing this lighting, and I think it's going to work.
It's just 6 weeks till Christmas when Patty and Jeff are hoping to host the family. But they're a fair way off yet, and with so many finicky jobs still to do.
Part of my vision, I wanted this beautiful big metal rusty door. So I set about getting some quotes, and woe is me, $18,000 was the cheapest quote that I got. So I bought a off-the-shelf, which is unlike me, front door, and now what I'm putting on here is black iron paint. The next step, I'm going to be putting a solution on it. It's in gel form, and it will naturally rust the door.
While Patty's performing alchemy on her door, Jeff's also magically turning new metal caps for the trusses into old ones by a process of fire and oil.
I leave them in here for 3 or 4 minutes. The oil is impregnating into the metal.
Jeff's got 1,300 of these to do. Patty's certainly got her husband doing her bidding. One has to wonder what he makes of it all.
I think he's got over my madness. I'm sure he does think I'm mad.
We've been married for over 40 years, and this is Patty to a T. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I love her too.
G'day, guys.
Oh, hi, Chris.
On the tools.
On the tools.
What's happening over here?
Well, Chris, this is our front door, and I've rusted it. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was an aluminium door that we had delivered.
Aluminium?
Aluminium.
Well, you know, it's looking pretty good, but I'm just thinking you're beating everything up.
Yeah.
And you buy something new.
And make it old.
And then it gets the Patty and Jeff treatment.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Like everything else.
So what else has had the Patty and Jeff treatment?
Well, come inside and I'll show you. And I'd like you to meet Dan.
G'day. How are you, Chris?
Nice to meet you, Dan.
You too.
What are you up to?
So we're just pointing over the existing mortar, trying to get a bit of a texture to it, I suppose. Like a distressed, would you call it distressed look?
It's definitely looking distressed.
Yeah, got quite a bit to go. So I could do with a bit of a hand.
And you're looking at me.
So
it's easy.
Just scooping it off your trowel and filling in all these little bits. Go for it.
Oh, I lost most of that, so that's a good start. But Patty, you were expecting it to be super rough, weren't you?
Yes.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because the thing that's so lovely about bricks like this is because they were handmade and hand-fired, they've got so much character.
They have.
And the bagging, in a way, just adds to that.
I'm very happy with it.
It's a real honour to be able to help mess up your house, Patty.
Thanks, Chris.
Hey, rough is good.
Despite all this self-inflicted mess, Patty and Jeff are still hoping to have Christmas here. With just 3 weeks till their deadline, I think that's a stretch. But when it comes to Patty, she's not one to take no for an answer.
It's been 6 months now since I last visited Patty and Jeff's home in Mangawhai, and I'm really intrigued to see whether or not this incredible collection of extraordinary things that Patty's managed to find from across the whole country come together as an authentic integrated whole, or is it going to feel more like a theme park? Whoa, looking very sharp.
The black modern pavilions meld seamlessly into one another, subtly finished with an industrial trim and chunky wraparound recycled decks. I think I could be in for a nice surprise.
G'day,
Hey, Chris.
Nice to see you.
Welcome back.
Hiya, Chris.
Hi, Patty. Gosh, you guys have been busy. This looks gorgeous. Well, I can't wait to get in and have a look.
Come on in. Come and have a look.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Wow. What a space. It's magnificent. The great room.
The great room.
Boy, it certainly is. Gosh, the trusses have come up well, haven't they?
Amazing.
Yeah.
And the size of the room and the scale can actually take them.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I mean,
it
did
was a
have doubts.
whole wharf,
Yes,
Patty.
yeah, true.
This room is a masterpiece of design. The heavy wooden trusses appear to float over the cornerless windows, giving a sense of both permanence and fluidity as you're drawn from the dark, cosy interior out to the light, spacious views of the estuary beyond.
I think these trusses were the most time-consuming out of anything, right from even having to have the hardwood tested for strength.
Patty and Jeff's determination to push through the obstacles and their drive to ensure the authenticity of every element is what's created a coherent style throughout. The recycled Rimu and 100-year-old bricks perfectly complement one another, giving this place a warm, comfortable, lived-in feel.
You know, you instantly think it's always been here. I mean, that's what it looks like. You know, the kitchen has a wonderful presence, and I love your table.
That is from the Eastbourne Wharf, which you would relate to.
When did you steal that?
Oh, a few months ago. Yeah, so that's Eastbourne. So there's a lot of Wellington in this house as well.
Between the great room and the master bedroom is a partially covered courtyard for outdoor dining.
Come on out, Chris. Another favourite spot.
Wow. I love the way that the beams in here, the trusses just carry right the way through. It just feels so natural that you've got that here and then you turn and...
Turn and see this.
Boom.
Yep, yep.
What a fabulous, fabulous room.
The stunning views over the estuary continue into the master bedroom, where the standout feature for me is the bath perched on its very own wooden deck.
Yeah, we're pleased with that staggered look of the timber too. I know people have come in and said, "Oh, and you're going to trim that all up, aren't you?" We go, "No,
that's all part of it.
That's the way. That's the way it's going to stay." Yeah.
The other thing that is really intriguing to me about the way that you've laid out the house is there's so many different ways of moving around it. Where does this take you to?
This is our ensuite through here in a small hallway, a walk-in robe.
It's Patty's eye for detail and love of craftsmanship that stands out everywhere. The exposed Victorian tapware is a touch I just love, not to mention the crazy wall of mirrors.
In my travels, I would go into the vintage shop or antique shop, and that was a particular mission that I had, was to find bevel-edged vintage mirrors.
15 years of collecting is probably on that wall.
Rounding off this unusual home is another quirky bathroom and a bunk room for the grandkids.
It's come together in a really well-balanced way, and I love it. So I have to say, congratulations. I think you've done a wonderful job.
Thank you.
What for you were some of the things that really excite you or that you thought you just loved to bits?
I would say for me, it's the recycled materials. Just looking at the story and the history behind them.
Yes.
That's what I love. And of course, the Mike factor came into it, and of course, he's a mad recycler and a sourcer of products, and he could see our vision, couldn't he?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Was there ever a moment for either of you, or perhaps both of you, that you kind of thought, ooh, does this really all go together as a cohesive whole?
For me, yes. I think we're right at the pointy end now of no more.
Do you think that's true, Jeff?
Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah, I definitely do.
So how did the budget go?
Up there, as high as those trusses.
Is that all?
Yeah.
I thought it was through the roof and beyond.
We started off at 1.3. We're probably 130, 140.
Over the 1.3?
Yeah.
So
but we've got no regrets.
You're telling me that it's still less than 1.5?
Yes.
Yep.
Have you learnt anything about each other through all of this? Patty, what have you learnt about Jeff?
Probably his patience.
So what about you, Jeff? What did you learn about Patty?
I think her ability to see the end result, I think she's done a fantastic job. But she always does, so.
It's not often we see a passion for the past play out so well in a modern context. Something really worth celebrating. So to mark the occasion, Mike and I have a little surprise for Patty and Jeff.
Okay.
Shall I grab that side?
You mean?
There we go, look at that.
Oh my God, let's have a look.
Isn't that fabulous?
Oh, and that's the ferry wharf.
Absolutely.
That's that.
Yep. Oh, it's a fairy wharf. You know, there's so much history in this.
Tears to me. That's amazing.
We went to the archive in Wellington, and the fabulous people at the archives dug out a whole pile of stuff for us, which we then selected 3 of, and then Mike has specially gone to the effort of making these amazing frames.
It is incredible.
So there you go. Don't cry.
Can I give you a hug?
Don't cry.
I've got it.
And Chris, thank you for being so thoughtful.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Honestly, that is just amazing.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh,
Very welcome.
How special is that?
Patty and Jeff have invested huge amounts of money into their new home, which they could have built for a lot less. But I think it's been worth it because Patty's single-minded, big-hearted vision of collecting rustic elements from right across the country is what makes this house so beguiling. But what blows me away even more is Jeff's total dedication and utter love for his wonderfully eccentric wife and the mad adventures that she takes the whole family on.